Here we are in Sarah Creek, anchored outside of the York River Yacht Haven Marina, and we're continuing our stretch of living and working on the boat as we prepare for long-term cruising.
This episode shows our journey from Deltaville down to the York River, then into the Sarah Creek.
We share some of the challenges we had getting here, and also the technology that we're using that enables Aron to work remotely from our boat. In preparation for being out on the water for several days, we do stock up on extra drinking water. So we stop at the local fire station to pick that up before we depart.
$1.
All right. As we were getting ready to head out, our engine would not start. We had to spend a couple hours troubleshooting.
We have a battery for the starter for the motor that's at about 12.1 volts, which is low. It's been charging for over a week. So we're going to put the power back on it and see what's going on with the charger. And normally we would hit start, stop, start the motor. But then we get the check engine.
Thankfully, we ran into Ola from Norton Yachts. He wasn't working today, but he volunteered his time to help us troubleshoot so we could get underway.
We've replaced the battery, and it's showing 12.8 volts in the battery. And the engine started. So 3 months into it, we've actually lost a starter battery.
They only last 3 months?
I don't know. Finally back out on the water after a good week and a half or so of being out here. And it feels really good to be back on the water. For Labor Day weekend, we took the time to go up to Minnesota to visit Janet's family, and also my first experience for the Great Minnesota Get-Together.
That's right.
Also known as the Minnesota State Fair.
Right. I also treated him to a boat tour on Lake Minnetonka. Our plan today is to head down the Chesapeake, going south about 45 miles for our trip to Hampton, and we're going to anchor outside of the Hampton town. So for today's easy to make underway meal, I picked up chicken and roasted garlic tortellini. You can see how things tend to slide. And now the interesting part is getting the pasta into the bowls while the boat's rocking. Probably wasn't the easiest meal to make underway in terms of easiness. I could have made tuna salad, or sometimes I make sandwiches. Turn the propane off. Forks. And pasta. And from the galley to the cockpit, here we are going to have our pasta underway. And Aron's really hungry, so with that said, we're going to go ahead and enjoy. Finished our lunch just in time. We need to switch our course, slightly adjust our course to avoid colliding with the Wolf Trap Lighthouse coming up ahead. The water looks really pretty today. It kind of switches from green to blue. We are continuing on our way down the Chesapeake, just about even with Mobjack Bay, right over there. And because we got going a little bit later than planned this morning, we're rethinking our final destination. We were gonna go to Hampton. Anyway, now we're gonna go stop a little earlier to the York River Yacht Haven and anchor outside of there. And Aron is working really hard over here with autopilot set. Busted. So this is what sailing is about.
It's hard work.
It is hard work. You're doing a great job. It's a little overcast today, but it's quite warm in the sun when the sun pokes out. I had to put my jacket on though because I like to be extra warm. This is our first time going up the York River. We've been sailing the whole way since we got on the Chesapeake. Actually, we were sailing since we left the channel at Broad Creek. And we have two options. We can do some jibing, or we can take the sails down and motor. So what's it gonna be?
I would like to try to jibe.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
It's a sailboat. We don't motor.
Oh, we do when we have to.
We only motor if there's no wind. And Bandit has been up in the cockpit the entire day again. We have successfully jibed as we're headed up the York River. Took the sails down and we are motoring. And we just have about 4 miles to go. There's the Perrin River Junction lights. Thank you for that information, Captain.
We sailed for 30 miles. And then we need to know the name of a buoy marker out in the middle of the damn river. 100 yards away, or 50 yards away from it.
It was for our viewers. People want to know where we are, and we're trying to highlight some of the landmarks we're passing. Lots of interesting things on our way up the York River here. Big barge. Just up ahead is the bridge that you drive over to get to the Yorktown York River Yacht Haven. And we're coming up to the channel to Sarah Creek. And you can see off in the distance is the marina. Good morning from Sarah Creek, just past the York River Yacht Haven. And as we got here, the depth gauge went out. So when we anchored last night, we had no idea what the depth of the water was.
So the depth gauge went out as we were anchoring last night. And so we just went ahead and dropped anchor with the last readings that we had. It was intermittent last night. It went up. It would go from 200 feet to 20 feet to 0, or not even 0, just dashes. So last night I took it out, cleaned it off to see if there was anything on it. I'll put it back in.
This area is Sarah Creek, and we are in the eastern branch. Nice quiet little area. We spent 6 nights anchored here. We took the dinghy to shore several times. There's a convenience store about a mile away that we walked to, and we also enjoyed dining at the York River Oyster Company a few times. We were running low on water toward the end of the week, so we pulled up our anchor and we motored across the creek to the fuel dock, where we were able to fill up our water tank. It holds about 330 liters. That is one of our concerns, water capacity, as we continue to plan long-term cruising. After we filled up our water tank, we went back to the same little spot we had been anchoring. This week's video is just about our trip to get here and working remotely and the technology that we use. And that's up next. Today we're going to share the technology that we're using on our boat. Listen.
So what we have installed on the boat is a 5G router, which allows us to pick up cell service for the major providers. It can be Sprint, AT&T, Verizon. We've gone with Verizon. But it's mounted, or the antenna is actually mounted right above our radar. So we use that to grab the cell service. Takes that signal, takes it back down to the router inside the boat, and we create our own little Wi-Fi basically from our boat. And back in our garage, this is the router. This is the PepWave. It's the PepWave Max BR1 Pro 5G. It has the ability to pick up a 5G signal, but it can also pick up the LTEs and lower cell service along with Wi-Fi. But in here for the cell service, we have a SIM card in here for the Verizon. And basically this is our router for the boat. It sends out the signal. And the cool thing about this setup is it prioritizes on what I tell it to. So if I want to go full cell service, or if I want to go Wi-Fi, or put those things together and say just pick up the best signal, it does it automatically. And so the PepWave router itself has its own login. And here I can see what I'm connected to, whether it be cellular, Wi-Fi, So one of the tricks that I found in here is making sure that you have the right band. You can YouTube this stuff and people will tell you exactly how to do this. I'm not doing that today, but you can actually go in and do your band selection and pick the band that is most appropriate to the service that you have. And that way you can customize. If you're having issues with one band, you can force it to another band type of thing. So that gives you better service is what I found. But if I do a speed test on here, the last speed test that I did just this morning gave me 13 megabytes per second. What I found is for conference calls, it's really good to have up to 10 megabytes per second, but you can get by with as few as 1. But now I'm rerunning it and now it's coming up to 3.4. So it does vary, but that's where you can go in, and if this band that I'm locked into right now, I could actually go in and change that band and try to find a better one.
For faster service.
For faster service. But sometimes you do have to put up with it also. That's the cruising lifestyle. So in addition to this router service, we also have our cell phones that we can use the hotspots on the cell phones, which I actually did it to where we have AT&T for our cell service, and then we have Verizon for the LTE service, or for this service, so that in any scenario, hopefully you get at least one or the other. And then just the normal setup that I have, I'm running my laptop, remote keypad, mouse pad, iPads, and everything seems to be working just fine. Even our television, when we have the good service, anywhere from 2 megabytes per second on up, we're able to stream YouTube, Netflix, YouTube, Aron and Jeanneau sailing. The other advantage of the system that we have is it is running off of DC power. So I don't have to have the generator running. It draws about 1 amp when the router is running, so it's not that much. But the benefit of that is we're doing it under just battery power. The Starlink, which we are looking into, but you do need AC power to run Starlink. And you have to position the satellite in the correct position. So with this system, we really don't have to do a lot. The antenna is up there, it pulls the signal, and we just use it. Even if we do get Starlink, we would still have this system as a backup.
So thanks for checking out our video. We have some exciting news to share. We will be at the YouTube channel booth at the US Sailboat Show in Annapolis. If you're going to the Sailboat Show and you want to get a discount on your tickets, we do have a discount code we can offer you. It's Aron Janet 22. We're not a very big channel, but we're excited to be participating, and we hope that you'll stop by to say hello. Just enter that promo code when you go online to book your tickets. Saves you money on each ticket you purchase. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. We look forward to meeting you, and we'll see you next time.